Hello, my name is Brent Stabiner, and I am a Business Central consultant with Logan Consulting. In today's Business Central demo, I will be walking through accounts receivable. So with accounts receivable, we must start with customers. Customers must be set up before we can process any transactions. So let's take a look at a customer card here. This contains all of the setup information for the customer. Every customer is going to have a number. That number can be, you can use a number series where it starts with a certain number and automatically increments, or you can enter your own number. Maybe it's from your old system. It doesn't have to be a number. You can use letters as well. So maybe you like to manually create your own. In any case, the customer number here is not too important. You don't have to memorize it. When you actually look up a customer, you can search by more than just a number. You can search by the name and other factors as well. So every customer is going to have a number. Then you provide a name. Here we can assign a salesperson. Just a few other things I want to point out on this card. On the right here, we have this little fact box that contains some important and key information. So you can upload a picture if you'd like, but what it does have is sort of the history and statistics of that customer. So let's say, you have customer sales reps that where customers call. What you can do is you can have the customer service rep sort of open this customer card when they call. And so maybe they say they have a question about a past sales invoice. So you can go here to posted sales invoices and it takes you to them. They can tell you the number and you can search for it or just find it and, open that invoice and look at it while they talk to you. There's also, not only that, but you can see like their balance here. Their balance is right here. So I can click on that 21,000 and see what makes up. And here are the 3 invoices that make it up. So this is a really useful tool when, customers call and they have questions about things. You can easily get to most of the things you need from this fact box. You can also include attachments. So maybe you have some sort of contract with the customer, or maybe they provide you with some documentation about sales orders or about, instructions on how to submit sales order or for them to submit sales orders to you. You can also include links maybe to their website or notes that you have while you call them. So it's a great little kind of one-stop shop area for the customer setup. So I'll just keep pointing out a few important aspects of the customer card. We set up here just a main address. This is like essentially the bill to address for that customer. We can set up contacts as well. So each customer that gets created will be a contact itself, but within that you can set up sort of individual people as contacts that might have different emails or phone numbers or other contact info. So when you set up a purchase or sales invoice, you can specify which contact so that when you email it, it goes to that email address rather than the main email address. You can, include if we wanted to keep track of sales tax, we can check this tax liable off, put in what tax area that they're in, and have that calculate when we do sales invoices. Here are the posting groups that you can do. So the posting groups are the GL impact of certain types of transactions. So the customer side, it's pretty straightforward. It is just the receivables account and then some other types of transactions like discounts and interest and rounding if there was another currency involved. And then there's the general business posting group that handles more the sales side of things for the customer. Another thing I wanted to point out are prices and discounts here. So maybe you are completely fine with your sales. Whoever enters your sales invoices, you are completely fine with them just entering in the price that's being charged. But you might want to have a lot more control over what can be changed and cannot be changed. So in that case, you would want to go set up what are called a price list. So if I navigate to excuse me here, it always moves from me, but we can set up essentially a price list here. Here we go, prices and discounts here. And so here we can set up prices for the customer. And so maybe you have you can do it by item here and say this customer, when we are setting up a sales invoice for this item and this customer, we have a specific price. And you can see here, not only can you do specific pricing just for a specific item, but you can also do sort of volume pricing here. So in this case, it's a order for this 1920-S item, and if we do 0 to 100 or 0 to 99, it's at $687.50. But if we order at least 100, it goes down to $660. You can put start and end dates on these as well, so you can sort of have promotional pricing. Maybe you have run some sort of sale during holiday time or during a specific during maybe the summer, so you can put start and end dates when these discounts might apply. And it doesn't even have to be at the customer level. You can create customer groups. If I scroll down to the right spot, so you can create customer price groups here. And so you can kind of lump a bunch of customers into one price group, and maybe all your large customers are in one, or all your your older customers are in one, and you can assign it there at the customer price group level as well. A few other things to point out: we can set up payment terms here. So you might offer your customers a discount if they pay early, and that can be included in the in sort of the due dates and when you actually apply the cash. You can also specify a payment method code with that determines how they pay you, whether it's ACH or check. We can set up statements here, so we can generate customer statements that you can send out to them that include what's kind of left that they owe. Then here's the shipping information. So if you're doing any shipping to your customers and you need to specify, the address it gets shipped to, we can have specific ship to codes that have different addresses. So it might be just the same address that was set up here as the bill to might be the same as the ship to, or you can set up a specific code. Maybe they have different warehouses that you might ship to. Or maybe it's just a different address than their office address. And then here you can include how you ship it to them. If there's a shipment method, whether it's how it's sent and by what agent is it sent: UPS, FedEx, DHL, etc. So that's this customer card along with the price list. Once you have that set up, you can start processing transactions. So if you wanted to do a sales invoice, you can go to sales here and sales invoices. I can search for it here and go to sales invoices here, or I can, highlight the customer I want here and go to new document and click sales invoice. So here are my sales invoices here that are created but not yet posted. So these are sort of just unposted sales invoices here. I can, go to new here and create a new one. So here I mentioned when you choose your customer number, you don't have to know the number. You can, select from the list, or I can search, that, and there it comes there. I can even search by zip code, even 31772, and it would show all those customers in that zip code. So you don't need to know these numbers. I can just select it here. When I select the customer, it brings in all that setup information I just showed you on the card. So here's the sell to address that came from the setup of the just the normal address, and there's also a ship to address down here. It'll default to the same as the sell to address here, but you can specify a alternate shipping code. You remember those ship to addresses; those are set up there, or you can even enter in your own address as well. Other things to point out: the document date here came from the system date within Business Central 924, and it calculated the due dates from the payment terms down here. So it's if they pay in 8 days, they get a discount, but it's a 1 month due date. Here's the salesperson. It came over from that setup that gets assigned to this invoice. And then here's the line item detail. We have a few options here. If you're actually selling inventoried items, you can go ahead and select those items. So if you remember, I have the price list set up for this item, so I'm going to choose that one. And then here, we just can enter a quantity here. So if you remember, the quantity was 1 to 99, 100 to 499, and 500, and so on. So actually, let me go back to this customer to make sure that we have the correct item selected, so I can show kind of how the price list works. If we go to the prices here, it is 1920-S. So we're going to go ahead and pull up that invoice again. This is the one that I just started, and we're going to choose 1920-S. And when I put in a quantity of, let's say, 1, it has $687.50 here as the price. But if I were to change this to 101, you'll see the unit price updates. And if I would change it to 501, it updates again. So it's a really good way to control, to make sure the right price is in there, and you can even lock down these unit price fields, or even hide them to make sure that no one can change the price. But I'm just going to put in 10 here. And so, you can keep adding other items here. It brings in all the items set up, and so you can keep going down and add more items. You can also just do, if all you care about is the customer having a balance and you don't really send them an invoice, but you just need to have an invoice in there to apply payment to, then you can choose like GL account, for example, and just instead of choosing your item, you just choose your sales account. You can do a charge item as well. So maybe, you have other items that you're selling them, and then maybe because they're an international customer, or maybe they're a first-time customer, you add in a little, or maybe they need it right away. You can add other sort of charges like a processing fee or a expedited fee or things like that to sort of add on in addition to the items that you're selling them. But let's just say it's these 10 conference tables. And once you're ready to post it, you can, maybe you have an approval process where you need to get the invoice approved before you post it. But you can go here to post, and if I preview posting, I can kind of get an idea of what's going to happen when I post this. So you can see, if you remember, it actually calculated tax there. So what you'll see here are tax entry. There's an item ledger entry because you're selling an item, so you need to deduct that. There's a customer ledger entry here, so it has an invoice there with the amount that is assigned to the customer. There's also a GL entry here, so there's a few different lines. There's ones for the tax, there's ones for the items, where it takes it out of inventory and expenses it. And here's the the taxes, the AR entries as well. So that's a way you can kind of review what's going to happen before you post it. But I'm going to go ahead and post this here, so we have an open invoice. And then it moves as a posted sales invoice, so you can always come back to this and review it at any time. So if I go to my customer ledger entries, and I should see that amount right here. This was the invoice I just entered, $7,287.50. It shows up there. And if I go here, I can see it's an open invoice. I can filter to this open invoices and see here's all my open sales invoices. So once you have your invoices entered, then you can start entering cash receipts. So here, cash receipts are done in a cash receipt journal. Now there are other journals out there. Journal is a popular term, just where you enter transactions. There is even a sales journal out here. That it's just another way to enter your sales invoices. And this is more of the rows and columns format rather than an actual document. And so if all you care about again is just the customer having a balance, you can just fill out, pick the customer here and put in the amounts, and then you can balance it with your GL account. But with cash receipts, they're all done in the cash receipt journal here. So I'm going to pull this one up here. And you enter it like all the other journals here. You just go across here, pick your customer account. It's a payment type. You pick your customer account. You can actually skip the amount for now. Then you pick your bank account that you're depositing this into, so the checking account. And then here I can choose what it applies to. So I hit invoice, and I pull up this drop down, and it filters out all the open invoices I just showed you, but it also filters on the customer as well. So here I can find my invoice right here that I just entered, and I hit OK. And you see it actually will fill in the amount then, which is entered as a negative. And so you can keep going down the list and entering your cash receipts. You go through your checks, or maybe you have a report from your bank that you can download with your ACH payments. This whole list can be edited in Excel. So if you wanted to maybe you have an Excel report with a bunch of cash receipts, you can copy and paste from that Excel report or from another report and paste it here into Excel. And so what happens is, what should happen is that you would get those transactions, that payment journal or cash receipt journal would then load with all the transactions, and you can enter them and publish them back into Business Central. And then once you're ready, you can go ahead and post the cash receipt. And if we go back to our customer ledger entries, first of all, we'll see the payment here now for the 71 or the 7287.50. And if we scroll over to the right, we will see that it is not open anymore. That checkbox is not checked because the payment has been fully applied. There's also generic reports that you get out of the box with Business Central. Your basic sales by customer. You can see the top 10 list of who your best customers are. You can get some sales statistics. You can also run customer trial balances and aging reports here. So here I can click on this aging report. You give it a start date and it'll age it based on the aging that you set up. I can send it to a PDF. And here are all the customer balances that are aged. So that's just a summary. You can also run a detailed one as well.